Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3 of What If Izuku Midoriya was a part of Clan Nosferatu from Vampire the Masquerade. Let's get into it, yeah? Last episode, officially, the prologue has ended. We now skip to when Izuku is considered ready to be sired, as they would say. As Izuku becomes a vampire, I'm not going to get into heavy details and politics in this episode because he's just a lick. He's not getting himself into anything fucking grand and great. Not yet. Not yet at all. What happens is pretty simple, right? Pretty self-explanatory. What Izuku has become has an ugly visage. Granted, this picture looks badass. But this is essentially what Izuku looks like from now until he fucking dies, ladies and gentlemen. Clan Nosferatu have a very interesting plight. This plight is simple. Their clan curse is to have, mutations, essentially. Basically making them very uncomfortable to look at for the most mild of cases. And this is considered a very mild case for what Izuku has. Like one of the easiest things to fix, right? And you can't really get plastic surgery because each night your body fucking regenerates all the way to what it was supposed to look like upon your death. I.e., technicality, when Izuku died, he looked like this, except for the metal jaw piece. So he does take that shit out before dawn each day. And the only time he does take it off is when he's feeding, which is, he doesn't really have to take it off. It just kind of opens. And it just helps him drink blood out of people. But regardless, we go when Izuku is let off the leash, essentially. When our boy V no longer has to babysit this man and basically say, anything you do while you are in this stage of your life, I have to take fucking responsibility for as a parent. But since Izuku, who is basically the equivalency of just got out of high school and it's time to get a job level of kindred, for the first 5 years Izuku was a kindred, he got taught laws and how to function. You can't go see the sunlight, technically. But Izuku got a very weird case of vampirism. He is one of the most gross, grotesque people that you could come across as a vampire. Now, I know what you're saying, what do you mean grotesque? He already looks like a fucking frying pan hit him in the face when he was 0.1 seconds old. What the fuck? How worse can it get? Well, you see, vampires don't usually have to, like, rip people's intestines out and eat them. And you're like, what? The fuck do you mean? And it's like, simple. For him, he can't just drink blood. He has to rip someone open, grab at their intestines, and nom on them sumbitches. Now, I immediately know what you're thinking. The first thing that you're probably thinking is, but, it's, actually more Hannibal Lecter. Because, like, he could drink and eat regular human food. It just doesn't do anything. Right? Like, for instance, like, he makes organ burger patties. It sounds fucked. But, like, Izuku could add seasoning to his shit to where it tastes better. Which, granted, it's hard to do. Because in Vampire the Masquerade, blood tastes like liquid crack cocaine. that shit tastes amazing. It's like it tastes like what sex feels like. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those situations where it's like, there are some people that are gluttonous about it. Now, you're probably thinking, what do you mean by gluttonous? It's like, oh, they drain people dry, which, side note, very important and interesting side note. Izuku, being young, having very shitty abilities. Like, all he has is 1, maybe 2 clan abilities. And I will explain to you what they are. One of them is a thing that vampires get passively, called potence. Potence is basically, you're using blood that you have gotten not only from your own little feasting that you probably could have drunk out of some other fucker, and kill people with it. It's kind of like half-ass steroids, like, but instant acting. It's like if you shoot up with adrenaline while you're on, like, all sorts of other drugs. It's like you feel invincible. But, in Izuku's case, like, bullets and shit, like 9mm ammunition doesn't do much. Right? You could be like, oh, you could still shoot him in the brain and he dies, right? No. No. That's not how it works. And it's like, so it's the stake through the heart vampires. No. That puts them to sleep. And not like your dogs. Like, I'm talking like, you shove a stake in like a vampire's heart. That's the equivalency of hitting their off switch, right? If you cut a vampire's head off, sure. That'll definitely do it. Decapitation. That's how you kill everything. But the more interesting thing, right, is that there's something called diablerie that vampires could do. Diablerie is where you eat, technically drink the soul out of... This sounds really fucking weird, and I can make so many sexual jokes about it, but it's overdone so much that I'm not gonna. Fucking God, I can't. So you suck the soul out of somebody, basically. And you can only do this to vampires. And the older the vampire, the harder it is to do. And no matter what, there's this fucking connotation that once you Diablerize people, there is a high chance that someone could fucking Shang Tsung your ass and just take over your body. Bury your soul and replace you type shit. Just like, I don't give a fuck. Right? But the fucking power boost from Diablerie is fucking outrageous. Even in the games. And specifically, I'm talking about, like, the tabletop games. Like, depending on how much you're willing to fucking do some Diablerie and break some vampire laws, that's... like, you could get busted. Because, like, you could do some shit if you Diablerize the right vampires. You scary nature. Like, fuck. Because, for instance, there are multiple clans of vampires. Nosferatu are the equivalency of we are the sewer people, literally. We literally have, like, alcoves in the fucking sewers, like, filled to the brim with shit. And their clan is literally, it doesn't matter who they work under, which now I'm going to explain the hierarchy system, right? There are clan heads, you know, like Naruto, Hyuga, all that shit, right? Those preside over the clans, like there's one guy for the Nosferatu. There's one guy for the Bruja, which are basically the frontline fighters and soldiers. They're kind of douchebags. Well, not all of them. The Bruja are more like angry, roided up people. That's basically it. Because there are different types of people that are in the Bruja. Because you got the really calm ones until you call them a bitch. And then the fucking final death your ass, which is basically, you're gone. You're dead. There are some people that can handle some bitch shit, like shit talking. But you do it too much, you'll die. And then there's just these people that you just can't piss off. Right? And, the best thing about it is, when it comes down to, like, all these other clans, right? We're gonna go to the Toreador next. The Toreador, their clan symbol is literally a fucking rose. Because they are the seduction vampires. They are the fucking, how do I explain this? They are the people that could dominate your mind, fuck with it an incy bit, and leave. That's the level of shit that's like, okay, I understand. Like, it's one of those situations where, like, you could, but you don't need to. Like, them being a vampire in that clan, that automatically makes them more attractive. They literally have a passive ability that, like, makes people look at them and are like, oh, they look pretty fucking nice. Like, it's one of those situations. That's passively on. Just on passive. You know what I'm saying? Like, it interrupts conversations. Because it's a supernatural pull. But, then there are the gangrel. Which, I'm not gonna lie to you. They're dogs. They're dogs and cats and birds and shit. They're fucking animals. Like, the gangrel are the equivalency of the fucking homeless. Fuck, I feel like an asshole, but I'm not. The gangrel, in my personal opinion, are more anarchist and rebellious, but for some fucking reason, they just kind of... People look down on them for very bad reasons, and then they pop up and fuck you over. Like, that's basically clan fucking gangrel in a nutshell. And then there is, fucking Malkavians. Alright, you know schizophrenia? Yeah, Clan Malkavian are literally hear fucking voices in their head. Like, all the fucking time. Hi. Their fucking clan picture is a literal broken fucking mirror. And they're all fucking crazy. I'm not kidding. They're all equally batshit insane. But, like, they have whispers of wisdom. Almost like fucking prophecies going through their skull. And it's weird. Because sometimes they will say some prophetic shit. And since it's more times than not, they're just acting fucking crazy. When they do say prophetic shit, and it happens, and they're like, what the fuck I say? Show you, I fucking told you. And they're like, alright. A wrong clock is right once or twice a day. And like, it's one of those situations where it's like, poor Malkavians, like, they don't get bullied because most Malkavians, if you have beef with Malkavians, don't expect winning that beef. Because, like, their whispers of wisdom will come in on overdrive and they'll say, your birth date, your social security number, who your family is, like, and they will just be on that shit like, what'd you say? What'd you say? Oh, I believe your mother, Deborah, told you never to say that shit to me. Like, it's one of those reasons to where, like, no one fucks with them. Right? Because if you piss off a Malkavian, they're amazing at hiding their emotions. They're psychotic. Most of them are masters at manipulation, but they're all batshit insane, so it's scary. But then we have, like, the, fuck. I know there's, like, 1, 2, hell, maybe 3 more that are in the main stead of the Camarilla and other small spots. Because I know there's a one that just fuck with blood magic. And they make their own rituals and shit. And they're like, alright, let me tap into the void real quick. And watch what Deborah's doing to her tortured person that she's trying to get information out of. Oh, she's torturing him because of that one job that we did together. I'm gonna go fuck her over. Like, that's what Vampire the Masquerade is. It's a circle jerk until one person stops, stabs you in the neck, and takes your spot. Like, that's what it is. That is Vampire Society in this universe. And it's a grimdark setting, so imagine stuff like COVID being just terrible. Like, world-ending, even. Like, we're coming real close, because let me be real. There are nosferatu that, like, I don't know. if there are a lot of rats in a city, like there usually are, and one of them somehow contracted COVID, and that rat belonged to a nosferatu, there are two things that nosferatu could do. Kill that rat and make sure they don't get that shit, or modify it to where it'll kill at a faster rate, or do something just bad to vampires that drink from these new COVID victims, and just kind of send it out on some fly, my pretty fly type shit. Wicked witch. Like, being pieces of shit. Out of all the people, the Nosferatu are the most competent, in my personal opinion. Because they don't have really an allegiance to anyone. Which is now where I will get into the equivalency of America, China, and Japan. Han equivalents. Let's hit it with the at USA outlook. We're gonna hit it out with the anarchs, which are basically there are specific rules that has to be followed to keep themselves secret. And to be quite honest with you, the anarchs want to tweak the rules because shit has changed from about God knows how many thousands of fucking years ago, right? And then there's like the equivalency of feudalist China that don't want to change anything, that double down on it to the point where it fucks them over. That place is called the Camarilla, and it's the easiest place to draw in power because you don't have to go on a merit-based system. You just need to know how to fuck people over. Which Nosferatu and Malkavians are fucking amazing at doing that shit in spades. But, and then there's the bad place. Then there is, like, Japan, World War II levels of what in the goddamn is going on that place. Well, those peoples are known as the Sabbat. And those Sabbat lost all contact with their humanity. They're like, oh, what do you mean by that? Oh, simple. I want you to look at a human baby, right? Rip its neck out. It doesn't matter. It's food. You're hungry. Rip its fucking throat out. Drink it dry. And then use its head as a fucking stress toy. Yeah, the shit's dark, but that's basically the rundown of the factions that are able to be chosen from Izuku's age. Now, you're not required to do any faction, right? But he's in a Camarilla-controlled state, right? Chicago is that in this setting. Because I'm not about to put him in LA and directly in the middle of a Sabbat anarch war. Because I don't want to fucking deal with looking up scary Sabbat shit. I don't want to give myself fucking PTSD with VTM. Like, because the shit that Sabbat do are fucked up. Like, for instance, when it comes to, like, they have specific people, right? That could, like, okay, how do I explain this better than how I am? There is a clan of people that I forgot the name of. I'm probably going to look it up after this and make myself sound like a dumbass. But they have a clan of peoples that could... I want you to imagine the human body being like putty. They do that. They change how you look permanently. And they could do whatever the fuck they want. Like, and it's blatant. Like, for instance, if you were a nosferato... Sorry that I just hit my microphone. That is truly my bad. But, imagine a nosferatu that looked like Izuku, right? It depends if they want to be a dick or not. That can make him, you know, not look like a Neanderthal in the forehead. Make his fucking... an entire fucking eyebrow line back the fuck up. Get his nose back in order. And fix his fucking jaw. Like... that... and it would be permanent. And, they could also do... some other stuff. Like create something called war ghouls. And as I said, ghouls are basically humans which have partaken of vampire blood. That kind of thing, right? And war ghouls are fucking... for people who play 40k and know the Dark Eldar, I don't think I need to say anything else. For people that don't know 40k and what the Dark Eldar do to people, they turn them into giant fucking abominations. And you're like, oh, that can't be that bad. Are you sure? Because them living is pain. Because that's what they do. Do to the war ghouls. In the most brightest terms, they give you the exact motion of each shit. Like, and in the middle of fighting too. Like, they don't need to take their time with it. What they need to do, all they need to do, is grab like a small bit of your fucking like elbow and attach that to your ribs. You can no longer bend your arm. Also, you cannot block properly from your left or right side, whichever arm they did it to. They could turn you into a flesh ball. You know the guy who could turn people into meatballs? And fucking... in My Hero Academia? That was the shit that came to my mind as soon as I seen that character. And since this person is... how do I explain this? That's just one of the clans. Alright? That's just one of the clans that the Sabbat control. Now, to be all honest with you, there's no Sabbat in West Chicago. Not a lot at the very least. Because they are all focused on fucking... in LA, because the Anarchs could put up a fucking fight. But, when it comes down to it, Izuku is, in the best term possible, he's in between Anarchs. He's probably going to go Anarchs. He could go Camarilla. Still probably going to go Anarchs. There's like, why would he not go Camarilla? Camarilla are winning in West Chicago. Well, some things to note. You could say that he could be a double agent, which would be valid, but sometimes they make you do shit in the Camarilla. Something called blood binding, which is... Wait, is that what it's called? Something that has to do with you drinking another vampire's blood. Blood bind. That's it. That's what I think it is. Where it basically becomes addicting, right? And you can't not drink it. Like, you have to follow their orders. And only, like, very strong-willed people could break that shit. And there are stages to it. You know what I'm saying? There is the first stage, which is, alright, this person's cool. Second stage is, this is wonderful. I didn't know I liked boys. Like, it's like, it jumps rapidly upwards into you are infatuated. It gets real awkward compared to everything. But yeah, for right now, I'm gonna have to end it. Sorry for the small cut. I hope all of you enjoy that type of shit. Like, comment, sub, hit bell, share with friends and family, all that fuck shit. Have a nice day.